What's within will eventually emerge. That's the whole point of this sermon. What is within will eventually emerge, and we cannot hide it, even though we try. That's what Jesus is trying to communicate to us in Matthew's gospel. And that message, what's within, will eventually emerge, and we can't hide it. Two very powerful writers wrote about that in their novella. One was Oscar Wilde, the other was C.S. Lewis. Let's start with Oscar Wilde. In 1890, he wrote a book, a novella called The Picture of Dorian Gray. Some of you read it? For those of you who don't know, Dorian Gray is a character, and for one generation, imagine Harry Styles. Good-looking guy. That's Dorian Gray. Or for us Generation Xers, Brad Pitt in his 20s. That would be Dorian Gray. And for the rest of y'all, Robert Redford, 1960s version. That's Dorian Gray. One day, Dorian Gray wants to have his picture painted. And so he's just sort of lounging there as the artist is painting his picture. And Dorian says, I wish I could stay young and beautiful forever. Guess what? He gets his wish. Dorian never ages. He looks just as stunning at that moment in time, several years down the road. But there's a catch. The catch is the picture that was painted of him, that is what ages, and that's what changes. But not only that, not just getting old, the painting reflects what his soul really looks like. You see, Dorian is selfish, he is vain, and he is cruel. That is his soul. And the painting reflects that. And so you see this grotesque, ugly, demonic figure emerge. Well, Dorian hides that painting. He puts it behind red curtains and stores it up in the attic. But eventually, by the end of the novella, Dorian just goes mad with rage at the ugliness of that painting, so much so that he takes a knife and he stabs the canvas. And when he does, Dorian drops dead. And then his body changes and transforms, and his corpse represents what the painting had been all along. His true self emerged. What's within eventually emerges. C.S. Lewis writes about the same thing, but does it from the opposite ends of the spectrum. You know how much I love the book, The Great Divorce. For those of you who are unfamiliar, The Great Divorce is about a group of people living in hell who have the opportunity to enter into heaven. And when they are there, they are greeted by angelic guides and they take a tour of the high country. The main character has an angelic guide, and as they're walking along, they see a parade. And in the parade, there's the most beautiful woman the character has ever seen. And she is surrounded by an entourage. There are elderly people. There are young people, there are sick people, there are healthy people, people from all walks of life. There are even animals, and they are following her. And the main character says to his angelic guide, he goes, oh my goodness, she must have been a queen on earth. She's the most beautiful person I've ever seen. And the angelic figure says, no, she was not really that revered on earth. She was nothing special. She was not even good looking physically. She was considered less than. She was single for her whole life. She was just sort of a nobody. But she wasn't, because deep in her soul there was so much beauty and love that she shared with everyone, with the old, with the young, with the sick, with the healthy, even animals. And the beauty of her soul eventually emerged. Because here in heaven, you can't hide. Who you are eventually emerges. So both Oscar Wilde and C.S. Lewis, they say the same thing that Jesus does. What is within will eventually emerge, and that is what Jesus is communicating to us. The Pharisees, the religious leaders, the people of the law, externally they do the right things, they say the right things, but internally their heart's a mess, they're chaos. And Jesus emphasizes that point, and he says it directly. What comes out of the mouth proceeds from the heart, and this is what defiles, for out of the heart comes evil intentions, murder, adultery, fornication, theft, false witness, slander. These are what defile a person. All the terrible actions that happen in this world, all the brokenness, all the cruelty, all the mistrust begins in the heart, which is why Jesus really raises the bar with us. Get your heart right. And when you get your heart right, some amazing things can happen. I got to share with you a moment that happened in my family that was really quite profound and amazing. Many, many years, everybody's looking at my mom right now. Uh-oh. Don't worry. Many, many years ago, me and a family member of mine, we were off to see a relative who was very challenging to love. Okay? And it was, we had to go across the state. And every time we visited this relative, there was always some kind of drama. There was tension. But for some reason, and whenever we were on this trip, we would always, emphasize the negative. There was already just bad feelings stirred up in the heart. So we tried to do something different. We emphasized the positive. This person's generosity, how this person tries. And then we took it a step further, and all the things that bothered us, we tried to understand, and we had empathy and compassion. The interesting thing is that on that journey, our heart actually began to change internally. And it was a great weekend. There was no tension. There was no drama. And I attribute it to being honest with ourselves, with the chaos that existed within. And that's the first step. We got to realize that there is chaos within, and what are we hiding? I have a great cleaning tactic, If you walk into my office or whatever, you know what I do? Whenever there's clutter or there's something wrong, I just pile it up and I shove it in a drawer or put it underneath the bed. And then you walk in there, oh my gosh, Christopher, your office looks so nice in here. It's so clean and organized. Yeah, don't open that closet right there, or don't. You've never done that before, have you? Here's the thing, on the outside, everything looks organized, doesn't it? But the chaos is still there. The messiness is still there. And the point is, we have to open those drawers, open those closets, and say, God, here it is. And that is exactly what the Canaanite woman does in Matthew's gospel. Most people think, oh, Jesus is being rude to this Canaanite woman. He's not being rude. He's goading her. Think about it. Jesus is in a crowd, and everybody's yelling at him, and not just any person, a woman and a Canaanite woman, and Jesus engages her. He's having a back and forth with her. Why should I help you? I'm here to help the Israelites, not you, not a Canaanite. He's goading her. And she lays it all out on the line and says, please heal my daughter. And you're right. I'm not worthy. It's just like the dogs feeding the crumbs. I'm not worthy. And Jesus says, your faith has made you well. And he's so happy, and he embraces her. That's what he wants us to do as well. He wants us to have the same faith and courage that the Canaanite woman had. God, here I am. I'm not worthy. Please, I'm going to put it all out on the line. This is what's wrong with my heart. Please, change it. Heal it. Because what is within will eventually emerge. And so that's what we do. God, here I am. Jesus, go through those hidden passages in my soul, both the chaotic sides as well as the beautiful sides. Cultivate them, tend them, clean them, heal them. That's what we're called to do. May we move forward, open ourselves as the Canaanite woman did, and through God, may God heal us. Amen.